The X-Men are finding a resurgence in popularity due in large part to X-Men 97 on Disney+, a continuation of the animated series from the 1990s. The new show is prompting many fans to revisit the original series. But did you know that some episodes from the 90s have more than one version? Some just have tweaks to the animation or redubbed voices. But one episode was reanimated entirely from start to finish, and one episode originally aired with a different ending. On this episode of Cut, it's X-Men, the animated series. The two-part pilot premiered as a sneak peek in the fall of 1992 on Fox Kids. The first run of the pilot had some animation errors that were corrected for subsequent airings. In the scene where Cyclops visits Jubilee's foster parents, his glasses were originally silver. They were corrected to red for repeat airings. Of course, you know Cyclops wears silver glasses sometimes.
Of course. Not.
The security guards at the mutant registration facility had red uniforms at the end of Part 1. But at the start of Part 2, they had green uniforms. This was corrected to make them consistent. They're now green in both episodes. In the original airing, Jubilee appears briefly in a scene at the school, even though she was captured at that point and couldn't have been there. Future airings removed Jubilee from this scene. There's a scene where Henry Gyrick has a photo of Storm and Rogue from the fight at the mall. In the photo, they're both in their X-Men uniforms. But during the actual fight, Rogue was in civilian clothes. Subsequent airings changed the photo to reflect this. There were also some instances where Gambit's eyes were colored incorrectly. This was fixed for rebroadcast. Throughout the 13-episode first season, actress Iona Morris provided the voice of Storm.
Don't worry, you are safe here. Because I can control the weather, they call me Storm.
With the premiere of Season 2, the role was recast and given to Alison Sealy-Smith.
Leave the boy alone. It is I you want.
The reason for the change was most of the X-Men cast was comprised of Canadian actors, who contractually did not receive residuals for reruns. Iona Morris was American, and by union rules was entitled to receive royalties for repeat episodes. So the producers not only recast the role with the Canadian Alison Sealy-Smith, but actually had Smith re-record Storm's lines from Season 1 for the reruns. Here are a few comparisons.
Now, Storm!
I summon the cold of the Arctic winds. I summon the cold of the Arctic winds.
Where are we supposed to start looking, Sugar? Sentinels or us?
There is a way. On Genosha, Gambit saw the man in charge of the Sentinels. If we look inside his mind, perhaps we can find that man.
There is a way. On Genosha, Gambit saw the man in charge of the Sentinels. If we look inside his mind, perhaps we can find that man.
Looks like you nicked the table, Gambit.
Gambit. The term Rec Room does not mean that you must wreck it.
Gambit, the term Rec Room does not require that you must wreck it.
Storm makes jokes now. What next?
Fun fact, when Spider-Man the Animated Series did a Secret Wars crossover in its final season, they actually did not have access to any Canadian voice actors. So the only X-Men character to appear was Storm, and she was voiced by Iona Morris.
Are you ready?
Go for it!
Power of lightning, come to my aid!
It's working! Alison Sealy-Smith continues to voice Storm on X-Men 97.
Ancient sands, heed my command, and reclaim these relics of hatred!
When the first season ended, the showrunners wanted to tease Mr. Sinister, who would be an antagonist in Season 2.
Your genetic material will be the foundation.
However, they had not yet cast a voice actor for the role. So the voiceover in the season finale is a temporary voice track by an uncredited actor.
Hope for the future. Sinister knows what your future holds.
By the time the episode re-aired, they had cast Chris Britton as Mr. Sinister, so he redubbed the lines for future airings.
Hope for the future.
Sinister knows what your future holds.
Chris Britton continues to voice Mr. Sinister on X-Men 97.
I don't understand. Who are you?
Most refer to me as Mr. Sinister.
The episode Slave Island ends on a cliffhanger.
The school.
It can't be.
With the X-Men returning home to find the school completely trashed. This would lead into the next episode, The Unstoppable Juggernaut, and the reveal that Juggernaut was the one who wrecked the school. However, the Juggernaut episode was not complete when Slave Island first aired, so the ending was quickly switched out with recycled footage of the Blackbird landing quietly at the school, which was still intact. While this might have seemed like a good idea at the time, it only made things more confusing, because the next episode to air, The Cure, had the X-Men still trying to rebuild the school, which made no sense to viewers who had no idea that it had been destroyed.
I'm sorry I didn't trust you, Gambit. I mean, I should have known you'd never really be a traitor.
How do you know that, Petite? Maybe you've been fooled again, huh?
I'm sorry I didn't trust you, Gambit. I mean, I should have known you'd never really be a traitor.
How do you know that, Petite? Maybe you've been fooled again, huh?
Touchdown in 2 minutes. I'm getting a visual on the school.
It can't be.
Now for the most extreme example of all. The episode No Mutant Is An Island was originally supposed to follow the 5-part Phoenix saga, and would have set the stage for Jean Grey's return. Much like the Juggernaut episode, this one was not complete and ended up being delayed. Because of this, Jean's return to life after her sacrifice in the Phoenix saga seems to come out of nowhere. The episode didn't air until season 5, instead of its intended place in season 3. But even when it did air, the showrunners were unhappy with how the animation turned out. So they had the whole episode reanimated before it would air in reruns. That's right, there are 2 completely different versions of the animation of No Mutant Is an Island. You can tell which one you're watching a few minutes in. The original has Cyclops in a turtleneck and jacket. The reanimated version has him in a suit and tie. To be honest, neither version is a stellar example of X-Men animation. The original actually looks more fluid and smooth in terms of the characters' movements, but it doesn't really look and feel like the style of the other episodes, which is probably why they wanted it redone. The revised version is more consistent with the rest of the show, but some of the characters still look off-model, and it just doesn't really hit the mark. It's too bad, because neither version really sticks the landing here. Disney Plus has the original animation, and the episode is included in season 3, where the episode is intended to be. The DVD set has the reanimated version, and it's included in season 5, where it first aired. So if you want to watch both versions and judge for yourself, you can. Next time on Cut Cut. A certain superhero gets 2 versions of his second movie.
General, would you care to step outside?
Superman!
General, haven't you ever heard of freedom of the press?
Superman!
Superman, thank God. I mean, get him!
Come to me, son of Jor-El! Kneel before Zod!
We take a deep dive into Superman 2.